The Life and Sad Ending of Ossie Davis. Raiford Chatman Davis was born on December 18, 1917, in tiny Cogdell, Georgia. The oldest of 5 living children, he grew up in a family of poor but inspired preachers and storytellers, an environment that provided him a good grounding for the stage. Though neither his father, Kint Charles Davis, a railway construction worker, nor his mother, Laura, ever learned to read, they nevertheless, through the oral tradition, taught Davis the importance of education. Like many blacks growing up in the 1920s, Davis managed to find good role models despite a resource-poor environment. My mentors were real and unreal, he told American Visions. My mentors were Brer Rabbit and High John the Conqueror, and even animals to whom I could talk when I was a boy. But while a lack of resources could not prevent him from wanting to learn, they almost prevented him from getting an education. Though Davis's parents were full of pride when he won a scholarship to Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, he had to turn it down because they had no money to pay for his living expenses. In 1935, though, things took a turn for the better. 2 aunts living in Washington, D.C. agreed to house him while he attended Howard University. My parents found enough money to buy me lunch one day, and I hitchhiked to Washington to live with my aunts and attend Howard University, he told the Palm Beach Post. There, I met a number of people who were very important to my career. Davis spent much of the 1960s earning his bread and butter in movies and in episodes of television shows like The Defenders, The Doctors, The Fugitive, and Bonanza. It was not the kind of work he relished. I'm not a great actor, he told blacks in American film and television. I've never devoted myself to my craft with the intensity Ruby has. I've always felt I'd rather be a writer, but we had to make a living. Despite this self-criticism, Pauline Kael, film critic for The New Yorker, wrote that Davis, in such movies as The Hill and The Scalp Hunters, brought a stronger presence to his roles than white actors did, and deeper joy. What a face for the camera. He was a natural king. As the 1960s progressed, Davis began receiving the kind of attention he deserved. In 1968, his play, Curtain Call, Mr. Aldridge, Sir, was produced at the University of California at Santa Barbara, and in 1969, he received an Emmy nomination for his performance in the teleplay Teacher, Teacher. By 1970, he had become one of the busiest African Americans in the entertainment industry. He made his debut as a film director with Cotton Comes to Harlem, adapted Nigerian writer Wole Soyinka's Kongi's Harvest for the screen, and his play, Purely Victorious, returned to Broadway as the musical smash Purlie. Cotton Comes to Harlem was a landmark of black cinema. One of the first black films to make money from a mainstream audience opened the way for a wave of pictures about blacks, now known as blaxploitation films. Unlike that of later, darker movies like Shaft, Davis's vision was more comic. Donald Bogle, author of Blacks in American Film and Television, attested of Cotton, a joyousness ran through the film that lured audiences around the country into the theaters. Clive Barnes of the New York Times called Purlie, which opened at the Broadway Theater on March 15, 1970, by far the most successful and richest of all black musicals, describing the production as strong and so magnificent, praising the depth of the characterization and the salty wit of the dialogue. Through the mid-1970s, Davis continued to direct. While his films, Black Girl, Gordon's War, and Countdown at Kusini, were received unevenly, there was a significance to his work that critics could not ignore. Davis spent the remainder of the 1970s pursuing diverse interests. From 1974 until 1978, he and his wife co-hosted the Ossie and Ruby Dee Story Hour on the radio. In 1976, he appeared in the film Let's Do It Again. Also that year, his play Escape to Freedom, a play about young Frederick Douglass, was produced at New York City's Town Hall. In 1986, he starred in a production of Tony Award-winning American dramatist Herb Gardner's I'm Not Rappaport at actor Burt Reynolds' Jupiter Theater in Florida. Davis appeared in Spike Lee's 1988 film School Days, and in 1989 he played the mayor in Lee's controversial and acclaimed Do the Right Thing. It was a role in which he presided not only over the street where the film's action took place, but over the coming of age of a new generation of black filmmakers. When he was past 70 and in the public eye more than ever for his stunning performance as the good Reverend Dr. Purify in Lee's Jungle Fever, as well as for his regular spot as Burt Reynolds' best friend on television's Evening Shade, Davis reflected on his career, telling American Visions. On February 4, 2005, while working on the film Retirement in Miami, Florida, Ossie Davis died of natural causes at age 87. His family, friends, and fans gathered by the thousands at a Manhattan church to pay their respects to the acting legend. He was remembered as a giant and a noble warrior, according to National Public Radio, and as an American treasure by the Actors Equity Association, according to MSNBC. Thank him for all the efforts he has worked hard for in his life. Rest in peace, old friend, Ossie Davis.